What in the world? I'm running out of room in here. Too many Ferrises. Alright, we're in the shop again, about to do some maintenance. This time is not for us. This is for a friend of ours. We figured we'd do him a solid. He's got a real busy life, real hectic. We're gonna go through it, take care of all the maintenance on it. At least all the basic maintenance. So what we got here is a 2016 Ferris IS700. It's got a 52-inch deck. It's got 3400 series hydro gear wheel pumps. It's got a Kawasaki engine. And it's dirty. So first thing we gotta do is give this thing a rinse off at least so we can see what we're doing, see what we're working with. We're also going to remove this thing because I don't like it, he doesn't like it. It gets hung up on trees, they weigh like 50 pounds. We're going to take that thing off. Also, we're going to grease everything, change the blade, scrape the deck, filters, spark plugs, all that good stuff.
Was on full setting. Look, it looks new again.
Almost.
Your words you telling me, I done heard them already. Trust me.
Alright guys, I'm sharpening blades today. I just wanted to show a quick demonstration on how I've been doing it. Basically I just get a scraper and I get all this excess stuff off. It doesn't make much of a difference, but just something I do. Then I have this vise here. It's called a drill press vise, and I just got it clamped down to my bench. It normally has like a little wimpy handle on it. I just put this on because it's faster. I can just do that. And I'll put it in the vise like this. And what I'll use is this cheap Harbor Freight 7-inch grinder with a flat disc. And I don't count the amount of strokes. I just kind of watch what I'm doing whenever I grind this. And if you want to look over my shoulder while I do it. One thing I do is I don't bevel it this way. I make sure I stay on the top side whenever I grind to get, that way you don't get this flat grind on it. You want to have that same factory edge. And then I'll take it out, and I've got this little cutoff wheel that I use on the handheld. And I come on the back side and I get the little burrs out. What you see, there's some right here. So you can kind of do some detail work on it, and then I'll put it back in the vise and just polish it out one more time. And basically all I'm doing is looking for a nice uniform look to it, you know. And I can feel with my glove it doesn't grab. I don't like to have it razor sharp, because any little pebble you hit, any little stick, it's going to leave little divots in your blades and it doesn't last as long. And I just use this little cheap blade balancer. And what I do is I look at the gap between this, and if it looks even, like that, that's good enough for me. I don't ever have any issues. Alright, so I got it jacked up. I'm going to pull the wheels off because that'll give me better access to these bolts here, because I'm going to be pulling this off. I'm also going to be doing the hydro change, so I'm going to put that on jack stands once I got the wheels off. Alright, we got the tires off, we got it jacked up in the front and the back, that way we got full access to get under there and drain the oil out of the wheel pumps. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and change the fuel filter, air filter, spark plugs, and the engine oil. There's just a little kit I picked up for it, so we'll take care of that real quick. That's easy. Alright, we got everything unboxed. It's the Kawasaki 20W50. We got the oil filter right there. Got the 2 spark plugs and the air cleaner. As you can see, it's much needed. Alright, now we're going to change these spark plugs. You don't want to just go yanking on it, because then you can break the wire. Just kind of wiggle it back and forth and pull, or some regular pliers. Alright, you got a ratchet and a 13/16 socket. They actually don't look that bad, a little rusty, but we're gonna change them anyway. Fuel filter. This is what's on it now. I'm not sure if that's what came on it from the factory. It looks old enough to be, but this is what comes with the kit for this engine. Probably gonna get at least 15 more horsepower just by swapping this out, I would imagine. Pretty cruddy. Got an arrow on it coming from the tank into the engine. Alright, that's done. Let's check this oil level here. It's got oil in it. It's pretty nasty looking. It looks dirty. Not necessarily dark, but dirty. So we're gonna change that. Oil filter's right here. I'm gonna get a wrench and loosen that up. Alright, so I got this little oil filter wrench. I got a little oil catch here, fan. Put that under there. This engine has this little hose here. Just gotta loosen it. And there's a hole right there. You just stick that hose right through it. After you get it undone. And it just drips on down. This right here is probably going to make a little bit of a mess. I'm going to put some paper towels under it to catch the majority of it. So let's loosen this. I'm not going to take it off yet, but I want to just loosen it to where I can get it off my hand when I'm ready. So we're going to break this loose. Try not to bust my knuckles like I always do doing this kind of stuff. Success. No busted knuckles. Alright, so I'm going to take this off. And what's good about this, the oil won't drain because you're holding it up. But as soon as you do this, it's going to fall down. Should. There it goes. Underneath here, catch some of it. Definitely gonna make a mess. I find that's the best thing to do. Just let it soak into a rag and pull it out. That way it doesn't get all over everything. So I'm about to put the new filter back in. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in there. I'm not going to fill it up completely. Get my finger in there and put it around the rubber. That way when you screw it on, it doesn't get pinched and rip off. You don't need much. And we'll just screw this on. I normally just, when I tighten it, I'll just put it as tight as I can with one hand. That'll be tight enough. I don't like to put a wrench on it when tightening it. And also right here for the oil fill, when you're checking your oil level, you want to put it in like this to check it. It says do not screw onto the threads. Basically don't stick it on and do this to check your level. A little pro tip there. Alright, while we're waiting on the oil to finish dripping out, I'm going to go ahead and swap this around. If your legs are short like mine and it's kind of hard for you to push this to put it in transport position, I find just pulling this off and putting it this way, and then you just flip it around, that way it's closer. Come on, Jay. Calm down. There we go. And just like that, your leg got 2 inches longer. Or this got 2 inches shorter. Whatever you want to tell yourself. Done. Alright, another thing we're going to do. So I got these little Alamite things here. From the factory, they come with these bolts. Now some of the dealers will take these out and put these on, grease them for you, and send you on your way. But a lot of dealerships don't. They seem to forget to check that. So I'm gonna pop this cap off, and I'm gonna show that there's probably no grease in that thing. So it's a 7/16 bolt you take out. and these particular ones are 3/8. So I'm gonna screw that in. Huh. Huh.
It's cocked up.
And you don't want to just start pumping grease in here, because then you'll blow the seal out on the bottom. It's good to pull this off and watch the grease rise to the top, and then you pop this back on.
Several bad puns later.
It just took some influence. So if you look in there, pretty much all it has is the assembly grease. It's that white grease, and they don't really pack it from the factory. Everyone I've seen, they rely on the dealer, you know, when they assemble the mower or they receive the mower, they go ahead and put it in. Being that the mower only has 250 hours, he's probably fine. So what I'm gonna do is pump some grease in here, and you'll see it fill up all the way up to here. And every time you hear a revolution of this little machine, that's one pump. So earlier I put close to 100 pumps in each one of the spindles, so it had no grease in those either. So I'm at about 35, and I promise it's actually pumping grease in there. I'm at about 60.
Few inches later.
Alright, so we had to refill the grease tube. You see it right here, it's starting to pop up. No, we just want to kind of coat it. And what we'll do is get that and just kind of smear that in there. Like so. That's what it's supposed to look like. And if you neglect this whole assembly will break off on you. If you hit it the right way, it'll be wore out. So we're just gonna take a rubber mallet and pop that back on. Alright, and we'll repeat the process on that side. So I was having a heck of a time trying to get it with the hammer on here, even with the big hammer. So I resorted to this pry bar, and it seemed to work good, much better. And the same situation on this side. Just assembly grease, that white grease. Got all the oil drained out down here. It's pretty nasty looking. Pick this up and put this back on. And that is a 5/8 and a 3/4 to tighten that back up. And when you tighten this up, you don't have to get banana sandwich. You don't have to like Hercules. It's 11/16, I'm sorry. 11/16 and a 5/8. That's tight enough. And then they got this little clampy job. You just stick that like so. I think that's how it goes. Maybe. I don't know, it seemed like that would rattle right there. We'll leave it right there. We'll try that. Alright, now we're going to add the oil. It comes with 2 quarts, but I don't think you put the full 2 quarts in it. I think it's like 1.8. We're going to see though. All I got. So I'm gonna put a little bit more on. Stop about right here. And remember, don't screw it in. Just do like that. Not quite full yet. Close to it though. Oops. Gotta always make a mess. You ain't done right unless you make a mess. One of the things I'll do is after I'll run it the next time, I'll check it again after it's been, or before you run it the next time I should say, go ahead and check it, you know, after it's been sitting for a while, after everything drains down. See, we're still not full. It may take all 2 of the quarts. Now we're on the full. So it's got like that much left over. So now that I've changed the oil, I got my cap secured down, oil filters tight, air filter, spark plugs, fuel filter. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it up. Make sure nothing's gonna fall. Choke it. Alright, so first thing you're gonna do to drain the oil out of the wheel pump here is you got this cover from your oil filter here. It's got some 3/8 bolts. And it's just a cover covering the oil filter. Can't really see that one. Let's see. Here it is. There's just 3 of them. And I can bet money it's nasty in there. You just gotta blow that out outside before I put that back on. And there's your filter. So the last time this was done is in 2019. So it has been changed once at least, it looks like, because this is a 2016 model. So I'm gonna get my oil filter wrench here and just break it loose if I can. And hopefully this one's small enough. Oh yeah. Okay, now it's broke loose. We'll put this underneath here. Hopefully my jack stand's not too far in and this doesn't go squirting all of my jack stands. The oil looks pretty good. So I did peek inside of the oil reservoirs up there, and one of them's completely empty. I think it's this one, I'm not sure. And the other one has the right amount. So that could be anything, but somebody wrote the date on it, which is a smart thing. I won't be doing that on the next one. Alright, so I'm going to take a look inside of these reservoirs and show you. You don't want any of this dirt to fall in there. Gotta be careful with that. But that's the right amount in that one, if you can see. Wipe this stuff off. So as you can see, we just have a real slow drip. That's pretty much empty. So we're gonna get my oil ready. I'm gonna put a little bit in the filter. Put some on this rubber gasket. And this is just regular, cheap 20W50 motor oil, conventional oil. You don't want to put synthetic in this. At least that's what they recommend in the book. So I'm just going to go ahead and screw this on. Now normally I would just use my hand to tighten it as tight as I can, but I can't get my hand completely around it, so I'm going to have to use the wrench. There you go. Careful. You don't want it too tight. Just snug it up with the wrench. Make sure you wipe all this. So we're drained now on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and drain that side, repeat the process, and I'll get back with you. Oops. Yeah, this one's real full. Alright, so what you want to do is release the hydros, and the way to do that on this IS700 is you lift this up and pull towards you like that. And when you want to re-engage it, the hydros, you put it like that. So we're going to disengage it for the oil change, because when you purge the air out of the system later, you're going to want this disengaged. That way whenever you work the controls, this won't spin until you put this back in. I'll have to explain that later when we get to that part, but just for the sake of the video, I want to show how you disengage the wheel motor. So you got one on each side, one here and one over there. I'm going to disengage that one. And we'll move on to the next step. This bolt right here, right on the top of the wheel motor, it's an 11/16 bolt. You're gonna have to get a ratcheting wrench or something and come in there, take that out, That way whenever you refill your reservoir, the air won't be trapped inside the pump. You know, all the air will raise to the top of the pump at the top of the oil. And once that oil starts coming out right here, you can put your boat back on. That means it's full and all the air, most of the air is pushed out. I don't think they ever did this. I don't know. It is super, super tight. Oh my goodness. So that's what it looks like right there. That's your bolt. Make sure your little gasket is intact and it's not messed up, the little O-ring, because that seals it. All right, we're gonna leave that off while we fill it. Like I said, once the oil comes to the surface and starts coming out, you put your bolt back on. All right, so I got the oil filter back on. We got the caps cleaned. We're just gonna reinstall those. The two bolts go towards the back, and where you can see hydro gear facing this way, we're gonna put that back on. Alright, so we drained the oil, we replaced the filters, we put the caps back on, and we have the vent holes exposed. The bolts are out, and now we're gonna put the oil into the reservoirs. So I already opened this quart and put a little bit into the oil filter, so I'm going to use this one for this side and this one for this side. Same here. You're just going to take 2 quarts in each one, and it's going to take a little while. You don't want to like get impatient with this because it's going to take a little while to fill up. Let me get a funnel. We're going to be filling up the left side first. 20W50 regular conventional motor oil, and you're gonna, if you can see right here, the reservoir is full, so it's gonna take a little while for it to drain down. And what I'm gonna do, put it in this side while that one's draining down, pour some in here. Full.
Moments later.
Are you ready? Okay, we'll go right back to this cord here on this side. This one. It's full. All right, back to this side. One whole quart down on this side. I'm gonna let it all drip out. Don't want to waste none. That'll do. All right, moving on to the second quart in each reservoir.
Much easier without the wheel on here.
Yeah,
How are we looking up there?
in between the full cold and full hot. And we have hardly any quart left.
Oh, so it should be any minute.
Yep.
Moments later.
Ah, there it is.
So it does take
Ah,
exactly 2 quarts in each one. So on this side, I should just be able to start adding until I got the whole quart into the reservoir and just wait on this side.
More moments later.
this one. Oh, there it is. Ah, there it goes. Same little bit of a mess.
Wait a minute. And I'll go under and tighten it. Alright, so that's what you want to see for the full mark. Just a little bit. You can see it's starting to bubble a little bit on this side. It's just a little bit of air getting out of the system. But I don't know if you can see the mark way down there. That's the full when it's cold, and that's the full when it's hot. So I'm gonna put the caps back on, and we'll go to the next step. All right, so we got the wheels put back on. We got 2 quarts in each reservoir. It's full. That's the full mark way down here. We got everything put back together. We tightened the 11/16 bolt on each side, on each wheel motor on the top, the vent hole. You want to make sure those are tight. Don't over tighten them, but you know, make sure they're tight with a wrench. Next step is to go ahead and start it. You're going to take the brake off, and we're going to work the controls back and forth about 5 or 6 times with the wheel motors disengaged. We disengaged them earlier by, you know, doing the little rod deal. So now we're going to go ahead and get on it. Make sure you don't turn your blades on if you got it jacked up right here, because it'll be weird, you know. Going to re-engage the wheel motors. You just push in and drop down. Alrighty. And we're going to do it again. That should be it. So what we're going to do is put it back on the ground and go drive it outside. Make sure everything's feeling right, sounding right. Feels good. Now we're gonna go ahead and grease all the grease points that we can find. And I think that'll be it that we're doing on this thing. So I didn't show this earlier, I don't think, but everybody knows how to replace the blades. I just replaced the blades. We went with these super high lifts, these skag blades. And right here, let me get up in there. Right here, if you see, right here, you can grab it with your fingernails and pull it out. It's like a little release valve. And what you do is the zerk fitting's on the top of the spindle up here, and you just pump until it comes out right here. And when it's empty, it'll take at least 100 pumps of grease in these spindles here. So we got one right here. Looks like it's for this arm control, whatever. It's got one on this side over here, but there's no zerk fitting. I don't know why, but I'm gonna just grease the ones that I do see, which is right here. And it's a pain in the butt to get to. There we go. There's the grease. You can see it coming out. I think that's all right here, huh? We have to get under it.
I think the front's where we need to go
Yep.
next.
So we got two of them. One right here. Kind of a challenge to get to with this, the angle it's got going on here. So I don't know if that's coming out anywhere, but I'm not gonna over pump it in case it's squirting out somewhere. At least it's got some in it. Some right here. Coming out right there. We're gonna go to the other side.
Oh, yep, we out.
Coming out?
Yeah, it's all the way in the back.
Oh, okay. Where's the other one? Right here? Yeah. Might get you to pump the gun for me
Okay.
if I ever get this home. Go for it. Nope. So this bolt right here is that grease fitting down there where you can't really see where it's coming out, but if you look right here, that's where the grease is coming out. So if you get somebody up top to watch while you pump in there, and you definitely want to grease this, because I neglected to do that on my other mower, and after about 1,000 hours that bolt broke, and then about another 100 hours later the other bolt broke because I never knew they had a zerk fitting there. Alright, so we got all of the maintenance done that I can think of. If there's anything that we missed, leave in the comments please. But I think we got it all. Go ahead and let it sit overnight, and before you use it again, check all your fluid levels, make sure nothing leaked out, and keep an eye on it for the next day or so. Y'all take it easy.